All right, I have to be mostly cautious about infections. Infections that can compound each other. And I recently had a situation where I had two separate infections that were about maybe 1 or 2 weeks apart. And that's the thing that gets scary is when infections work together. They're together in some way. They just attack, and it's my own doing too with this, because a few weeks, maybe a month ago now, it's been a while, I had a cross contamination issue. I think I brought up. So I mainly cut meat with this knife, and then I cut an orange with it, and then I got like E. coli. I think I got just pain in the gut, and it was bad. All right, I got infected because I think I cross contaminated with this knife, the nice serrated knife that I was not cleaning. I don't clean it. I just cut chicken, so it's contaminated, but I keep it isolated. It's not easy to clean. And I learned after that infection that I need to use another knife. That's why I have this. So this is the knife I'll use for cutting fruits and vegetables. And I don't really clean it. I just cut an orange. So cross-contamination is a threat with the vegetables, the fruits that I don't cook. If I cook it, it's not as scary. So there is a threat with cross-contamination with just this. But at least it's not going to be meat like chicken or beef, and then fruit. All right, I'm separating my knives, and I learned that the hard way. And then just like a week ago, a couple weeks later, after dealing with that sickness, that infection, E. coli or salmonella, I get algae infection from the tap water in Mattoon. I know it was algae. They even admitted in the news. They admitted to the news, the reports back in 2019. And even historically, they say on the historical signs downtown that this city was not settled for its water, for good, because it had good water, is because there was a cross section for the railroads. And they've historically just not had good water. They said they used 2 lakes, and one of them was full of algae, so they switch over to the other lake. Well, that other lake can't be much different. So it tastes like a swamp. The water tastes like a swamp. Try to filter it out. It still tastes like a swamp. I did taste the filtered version of that water. So it's just no good. And I got infected by something. And I went further with the water. I thought I could just still make use of it as long as I boiled it. And so I used a considerable amount of water for cooking, and still, I think I got myself even sicker just on the algae alone. So that was something I learned the hard way, that you can't boil algae toxins out. You can kill whatever else is in that water, the swamp, all the little microorganisms, but if they're admitting, and I read this later after drinking the water, after using the cooking water and drinking that, I had made sure not to drink all the cooking water just out of fear. But if I had known that you can't boil algae toxins out of water, as soon as I tasted the swamp, that would have been it. I would have spit it out. I smelled the swamp. I could smell it before drinking it. It smelled like a swamp. But I still consumed it because there were no warnings anywhere in that city. They need to be sued. And I got sick and suffered low energy and pains in the guts again. And I think what happened if I had cross-contaminated the knife with the meat and the orange and gotten the salmonella or E. coli infection, and then also drank the algae water on top of that together. Two bad sources for toxins and infection, and it's scary. That's what's gonna really take me out. If I could just line these infections up one at a time, or ideally not get infected at all, but at least have them separated, being cautious as I can. But that's just not easy to do. But yeah, if they were combined, a combination of those two things would have just wrecked my guts. I probably would have been just bleeding for days after. I probably would have really had a difficult time recovering. I'd probably be suffering. I after the algae infection, I think I fully recovered. I just needed time to rest from the cross-contamination with the food and the knife. But the algae I think took me down a little bit for a little bit longer period of time. And it could have been because of the weakening from the cross-contamination issue with the food. And I caused that problem myself, and I should have recognized the algae problem early on. But I suffered, and I felt like I got better, but I still had constipation for a couple of days after that point where I felt better after the algae infection, which the suffering lasted about 4 days or so, because I was continuing to drink for like 1 or 2, maybe 3 days, because I spent about 3 days in Mattoon. And so I was continually trying the water on the east ends at the library, and then on the west end as I was moving through slowly. So I had it from several sources. It all tastes like swamp, up and down. And they have that Sarah Bush Lincoln Hospital not far away. I mean, there's got to be experts there that recognize the problem. What are they doing there? It's a big building with tons of cars parked there. It looks professional. But yeah, what's going on with that? So I suffered constipation, just probably from the swelling and the weakening, and that was causing a little depression too, because things were just stuck. I could consume things that would cause gas. I actually turned to dates because they cause gas. I ate dates and then started passing gas, but still constipated with gas. It's a choice if you want gas or not. You consume raisins or dates, onions, things that just do things, but the things that can cause problems, things that have caused problems so severe that I've gotten sepsis because of so much gas accumulating in my gut. I've gone through that suffering, and I recognize it. It's happened a couple of times. I recognize the problem. I believe it's a spinal issue, sitting hunched over, crushing everything down, but also consuming high gas sources of food as well. I'll have them every so often. I like how they taste. Honey causes no gas. All right, I consume this like water, and honey doesn't add on fats either. It's really something else. But I can't always have honey, so yeah, every so often dates or raisins. But yeah, this stuff tears up my gut, and I mean, the longer I live, the more I increase the chances of just having multiple sources of infections just take me down. You won't be able to pinpoint one single thing. But as long as I'm strong enough to withstand the single source, in a minor way. I mean, it was only whatever it was infected on this knife, and I think it was beef and oranges. I think, yeah, that cross contamination. It could be its volume and then the combination of, the volume of the infection and then the combination of multiple infections, the potency. There's different ways to look at it. And when I get sick, I just sit back and I evaluate what was I consuming, what did I expose myself to, what has been different in my life that's led to this ill feeling. I look at the environment. That is a factor, but it's not always the factor. I have to look at what I've consumed, my physical habits. Do I need to improve that? I think my physical habits, along with the gas stuff, has led to infection in the gut, which causes severe pain, unable to move. That happened many years ago. I haven't had a reoccurrence in quite some time because I do take more precautions. But that's, when you get a gut infection from too much gas, that's an embarrassing way to go. But I know that I got sepsis because my lips turn numb. That's like my sign for getting sepsis, is my lips turn numb. And then I'll feel ill, tired, unable to think clearly. It's just the blood is infected. My blood feels great. My lips I can feel. So, I don't have that kind of blood infection now. But that happens. It happens straight out of the guts. And that's a concern because these infections weaken the guts. They set me up for another bout of sepsis. Algae could probably bring sepsis. The cross contamination can probably bring sepsis, and so I have to take precautions as best I can. And I'll do that. I'll look for detoxifying herbs for that, like the dandelion. There's really no dandelion flowers out here. They've kind of gone to seed. At the time that I had the infection from the algae, I was able to find at least yellow dandelion heads as short as the grass is cut. You can still find dandelions that time of year. There's some. I see some yellow dots in the grass. But I want to detoxify, and because that's the only way I know that I know of based on my research. I have burdock seeds still. Oh yeah, also celery seeds. I trust. I toss some celery seeds in here. Celery seeds help. They're diuretic. Want to get things going. That's part of detoxification, is just stimulating water release, getting that water flow going. But that's why the combination of dandelion and burdock come in. I don't have any burdock roots, which is the main thing that's suggested. But seed is pretty good. They don't sell burdock seed anywhere that I know of. I picked that when I was in Iowa. I found a huge patch at an old farm. A lot of cow farms can have big patches. Old cow farms, dairy farms can have lots of burdock around because I think the cows eat them. You can eat the leaves, but I tried chewing on leaves, even the stalk of burdock, and it makes the stomach hurt. And you could have a full stomach; it'll still make the stomach hurt. Something else. But yeah, detoxing becomes very important, very necessary. I mean, it's like, what do hospitals prescribe for these types of conditions? They would give you, antibiotics. Well, the detoxifiers, the herbal detoxifiers are probably the first thing you want to turn to before antibiotics. But yeah, you want to just get things going. You want to kill the biotics. And I've learned over the time in my discoveries about how to try to improve my health. My health is up and down. I can't always keep it perfect. I make a lot of mistakes. But like turning to garlic is difficult because it hurts my stomach. So I don't turn to garlic so much. I want things that are friendly to my stomach, but also can detoxify. When I get a stomach ache, sometimes I'll turn to ginger. But a couple of nights ago, I had a stomach ache, and all I did was keep a magnet down there. My double magnets up here. I want to keep magnets, and I never used the ginger. The ginger would have been something. It was late at night, and I was just like, okay, I'll just grab the magnets on my bedside, just keep them on my stomach as I sleep. And I got some relief from that, so I just went with it. If it had gotten worse, then I would have taken a tablespoon of ginger and put it in water and swallowed it. But I was tired, it was late at night, and magnets are easy to grab, and they seem to bring some relief from the stomach ache that I had. And what's weird is that I seem to get stomach aches from doing sit-ups now. I'm doing more sit-ups with my string and stick and a string exercising, and I'm getting more stomach aches, pains. So I think I want to do more sit-ups because the pain doesn't seem like the type that I should. That it doesn't seem like I should be cutting back on sit-ups because I'm experiencing a stomach ache. All right. It doesn't make sense. I think I need to be doing more sit-ups to work through that. It's kind of like having shoulder pain when I've been doing the stick exercises like this, walking. I was getting a lot of pinging, a lot of stinging pains in my shoulder, and I just worked through it, and now I no longer get stinging pains when I do the shoulder exercises. I don't seem to be improving the size of my shoulders, but I think the strength is improved, and I want to maintain that. And I did let my shoulders get so weak that when I started the shoulder exercises again, I was experiencing stinging pains in my shoulders. And that was annoying, but I worked through it, and I think that's the same for the stomach. I avoided sit-ups for many years now through my late 30s and 40s because I didn't like the choices. If I'm going to work sit-ups, I got to work the back, and I didn't like the choices that I could think of for working my back. But now I'm happy with the string and stick. All right, I'm hitting my back a lot better. Working my glutes, working my back. I got exercises for hitting those, and then the picnic table fitness helps. But I can't always find a picnic table. I can just stand outside my car, and as long as it hasn't rained, the ground isn't wet, so I can lay down and work my back. And now, because I'm getting stronger back, I can bring in working abs and doing that. And now I could be feeling the effects of just neglect when I'm now working my abs more, that I get a sick feeling. I looked it up on the internet, and people really don't seem to have much to say about it, about the sick feeling from, they call it nausea, maybe, from doing sit-ups. I'll give it a few more weeks. I'm just saying that. I'm just here on this video, just talking about my infections and my fears about ever having multiple different sources of infections at the same time. That's what scares me.